Hey friends, happy Wednesday, the 19th of August. It's nice to be with you. It's also the 19th week of Ordinary Time. I'm Father Bill Hill, priest at Holy Spirit Catholic Community in Rock Springs, Wyoming. I'll share with you a reflection on the daily readings. The daily readings are linked down below. Click the link, read the readings prayerfully, and then turn off the screen. Spend some time with God in prayer before you move on to other things. I believe that today is the first day of school at Sweetwater County School District number 1. So if you would be so kind as to say a prayer for our teachers and students and staff and administration and support and families and everybody that's involved in public education, that would certainly be appreciated. Catholic school starts next week. I'll ask for your prayers for Catholic school next week as well. We have a reading from the book of Deuteronomy and from Matthew's Gospel today. Like I said, it's Wednesday of the 19th week of Ordinary Time. Book of Deuteronomy, we have the death of Moses, alas, and then the passing on of the gift, prophetic gift maybe, to Joshua, certainly leadership gift, Joshua, son of Nun. Remember, right, we encountered it a week or two ago that the people tempted the Lord in the desert, and it was their hardness of hearts in which they refused to enter into the land. And so then God condemned that generation to 40 years of wandering until all who refused to do what God had instructed them to do, died and were buried in the desert. And then their children would be able to enter the land. The idea that they would be more ready to trust in God and be the chosen people than their ancestors who had been slaves in Egypt. And so that same punishment, that same consequence is given to Moses. And so Moses is given a particular gift, that he's able to see the promised land, but not take the people in. So perhaps we might pray into the question of what are we working on in our lives these days in which we will never see the full harvest, the full settlement, the full anything, right? So much of our work goes unfinished, and that's part of our trust and our faith as Christian people, that it is in the providence of God, God who provides, that God is bringing all of these strands, all of these notes from various instruments, all of these works of our hands into this great masterpiece that is creation. Maybe you pray a bit with Moses as he dies. Perhaps also you pray into the reality of Joshua, that leadership is still needed, the people still need leadership. And so, the taking on of the mantle, the ability to step into a position and do what is asked for us. And especially, maybe we ask that the Lord might bless our duties, our to-dos, the expectations that we and others place upon us, that we might indeed be able to shoulder that burden like Joshua, leading the people into the promised land, right? Okay. The gospel is Matthew, and it is a really important conflict resolution, interpersonal sort of gospel. Jesus telling us that as Christians, relationships will struggle and relationships will have difficulties. What do we do in those moments? And lots of times the temptation is to go to another person and to tell them how bad it is and how bad this other person is. Jesus tells us that when relationships are in a moment of struggle, the first thing is for us to go to the person who has wronged us and to tell them, this is my experience, and to seek resolution and reconciliation. And then there are additional steps to follow if we cannot come to resolution. And that's why one of the first things that we may want to ask when someone comes to us and tells us about a difficulty is to ask, and instead of saying, yeah, that person is terrible, you're totally in the right here. But to ask, what can I do for you to help you to reconcile this relationship? What support do you need from me in order to enter in to the difficulty of speaking the truth that you need to speak, right? And what ways can I pray for you that this relationship might be healed? Those sorts of things to encourage people to actually follow this instruction of Jesus in the gospel. As you pray into it, what relationship is the Lord calling you to reconcile? In what way is the Lord inviting you to speak words of truth into a strained or damaged relationship and to be an agent of healing and reconciliation? Let's not be people who take it to everybody else, but instead let's take it directly to the person and to the Lord this day. All right, friends, read those readings prayerfully and then turn off the screen. Spend some time with God before you move on to other things. Pray for everybody involved in public schools today, if you would be so kind. All right. God bless y'all.